Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's episode of How You Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and today we're going to be discussing how Sony is doing their best to destroy their smartphone lineup. It's very interesting that they have a phone that one of their primary selling features was that you could use it as a viewfinder or a monitor for your camera, and they have decided to say that they are going to take that feature that you paid $2,500 for the phone for and put that behind a paywall. So if you want to be able to use that feature now, they sent out this update. It says this is a paid function of the premium plan. You click over here, $4.99 a month. So if you want to still be able to use your camera as a viewfinder, which again is one of the main reasons you may have bought a $2,500 phone instead of a $500 phone, you can no longer do so unless you pay them $5 a month. If you're wondering why this is a useful feature, sometimes people want a nicer screen for their camera, or sometimes people may have beat up 13-year-old cameras that have screens that look like mine. At that City Hall protest on August 28th, I remember asking Maria, hey, does this look like it's in focus? And she's like, how do I tell? And I go, look at the screen. And she says, what screen? It looks like an old MacBook Pro Retina with Stain-Gate that somebody poured Listerine and alcohol on. I don't know what the fuck Sony thinks they're doing with their lineup. I don't know if they even still make money off of phones or if this is just something that they're doing because they don't make any money off of selling phones anymore. I tried to look them up recently. I looked, just Google Sony Xperia. I click Sony mobile phones and I get this on their website. This is on the US version of their site. I don't even know where to buy one. I don't think they're even trying to compete in this marketplace anymore. And that this is something that would make sense to me. If they're not trying to compete in that marketplace anymore, then it makes sense from a financial point of view if you don't care to just milk your customers for as much as you get. It's not like you're going to care if they don't want to buy your next product if you don't plan to make new ones. And I do wonder if Sony is just saying, fuck it, we give up on this altogether. Let's milk everybody for as much as you can. What pisses me off the most here is Sony's mindset throughout the process. They're burning a bridge. They know that they're never going to sell an Xperia again. So they figure if we're not going to sell an Xperia again, then I might as well try and grab as much money from them on the way out the door. And what I think they're missing is that there are people like me that would have never gonna bought an Xperia to begin with, but that are looking at stuff like the NX800 camera, which when you buy all the accessories that I want from Sony was gonna cost me $4,000 to $6,000. I'm not spending that now. I wanted to go to City Hall with a camera setup that I could live stream in high quality to, also record in high quality with, had good optical image stabilization, had XLR inputs, was light, could do the live streaming so I didn't have to connect it to a computer with a USB dongle and all that can disconnect so it wouldn't be screwed up. I'm not spending $4,000 to $6,000 with Sony now. I was thinking about it. I had the thing bookmarked, wanted to go to Precision Camera and Video and buy it. Now I'm thinking of a Panasonic HC-X2100. Why would I give money to a company that makes it clear that they're going to burn their bridges? That's the thing that bothers me is you could have died the hero. You could have said it's too difficult to compete in this market because the competition is too price competitive, because people want everything to be slimmer. I can't have features like a micro SD card, a headphone jack. Very few people are willing to pay the extra for premium features like being able to hook it up as a monitor to your camera. You could have said we tried to be the best and we did it for as long as we could and now we can't. You could have died the hero. Instead, you became the villain. You got the worst of both worlds. You died because I can't find your phones anymore. And you became the villain while dying. Sony was a company that I have a lot of respect for different areas, and that's going to color my view of them in this video. I like what Sony has done in the past, at the very least with Right to Repair. They have a website where you can buy parts to cameras that are 12 or 14 years old. This is part of their website here. I did the video on this a few years ago. I needed an HDMI port and something else for my NEX EA50. It's a camera I bought back, I think, in 2013. This website looks like it came out fresh out of 1997. This looks like one of the bookmarks or one of the links on the side when you go to msn.com and you had all the things that you could click on to explore the internet. It looked like this, but you could look at this stock photo. Look at this shit. This stock photo is straight out of 1980. But the thing that I liked about this is that I could find schematics for the camera. The schematic for the camera had all the information that I needed to fix my camera. Not only was it a block diagram, it told me the parts, but it even told me the parts that were on the board. It was a very, very detailed document. And I could buy everything I needed for an NEX EA50. The parts weren't completely cheap. I mean, an HDMI port was $25 or $30, but you have to keep in mind that they are stocking these parts for years after they have discontinued and are no longer selling the product. And that's awesome. However, that is a separate department of Sony than what they're doing with their phones. A bunch of issues where they just stop working and they're not really doing a great job of supporting it. The temperature and humidity caused a defect in the motherboard, leading Xperia 7 units. By the way, what the fuck is with this naming scheme? We have like a number and then you have a Roman numeral after it. That is so confusing. That completely rots my brain. But they have issues with their flagship phones where they just stop working for no reason, which is really shitty. And on top of that, they're trying to turn their existing devices into subscriptions. Like, I remember back when Sony made phones that were really, really respect-worthy and worth buying for these reasons. I don't own a Sony because there were some trade-offs on it, but I respect the decision to buy a Sony because they had things like a headphone jack. They had things like a micro SD card slot. And these are very useful if you are somebody who deals with media a lot on the go. If you're somebody who takes a lot of pictures, takes a lot of video on your phone, you may want the ability to take your your micro SD card out and just load another one in without having to worry about transferring stuff off. It's much quicker to take a card out and put it back in than it is to plug it in via USB or upload it via Wi-Fi to a cloud. That's a really nice feature that you used to be able to get on phones that you don't anymore. The other is the headphone jack. The headphone jack is not just useful for headphones, it's also useful if you want to do mobile live streaming or mobile recording with your phone, and you want to be able to do that mobile live stream with high quality sound. You could get something like this video microphone, and you could plug it in using the 3.5 millimeter jack. And it also had a really nice attachment that would grip it onto the phone very nicely, so you didn't have to worry about how to mount it. It was actually a decent thing to use as a handle for the phone while you're carrying it and live streaming, so people could hear you. It also had one of those things, it was a windscreen. Some people call it a dead, something that starts with a C that I can't say because he's sitting right there and he's going to have, yeah, he's going to give me the stink eye if I say that word. But it was the Dead Sea thing that it's the windscreen that you put over the microphone so that it doesn't get all the wind noise. It was really useful to be able to have that for mobile live streaming. And if you buy a modern phone that doesn't have a headphone jack, you have to buy a USB-C version of that microphone. And the problem with the USB-C version of the microphone is that now you've used up your charge port. So what do you do if your phone is dying during a mobile live stream? Because mobile live streams destroy your phone battery. You can't plug it into an external battery the way you used to. Now you have to find some wireless external battery, which has 70% efficiency. And it's a mess. It's nice to be able to have and retain all those features. Sony retained a lot of features that other people threw away. That was the only compelling reason to buy a Sony. You're not buying a Sony because it's affordable, because it's not. You're not buying a Sony because you get Android updates, because you don't. These phones cost $1,100 to $2,500 fucking dollars, and many of them are end of life on Android 12 through 14. Many of you are using Android 15 on a Sony right now, while everybody else with a Pixel is using 16. Now, to be clear, I don't give a fuck about the updates or the filters or the new icons or any of that AI bullshit they're putting into the phone. When I say updates, the reason that matters to me is because I use my phone for banking. I use my phone for two-factor authentication. There's a lot of stuff on my phone like that, so I don't want to be using the security equivalent of Windows XP on my phone. Old versions of Android, if you're a high-profile figure that a lot of people don't like, that has a device that's on the internet, you want it to be secure. This stuff matters. You're giving up a lot when you buy a Sony. You're giving up a lot of money, and you're giving up the ability to run a recent operating system. But that was worth it because you got a phone that at least respected and kept in features that everybody else was throwing away. So when you take the primary differentiator between your device and everybody else's, and you say, I'm putting that shit behind a fucking cloud subscription paywall, what you've done is you've just said fuck you to every single person that was loyal to you and decided to use your products back when everybody else was abandoning them. And I think this makes sense within the context of them just deciding not to sell phones anymore. Sony phones are disappearing across key markets. Is the Xperia era coming to an end? Yeah, I mean, like, if you can't even find them on their own website. And the thing is, I was in the market for a new camera because I need a live streaming camera for the video that I wanted to do at City Hall. I noticed carrying around the laptop is annoying. Carrying around my old large camera is also annoying. I wanted something that I could do a mobile live stream from that also could record in good quality and live stream in good quality as well. And I was looking at some of Sony's options, and they have some options in the $4,300 range that I was actually looking at buying, but I'm not going to buy them because of this. If you discontinue the phone and you stop supporting it with OS updates, even though it's expensive, that bites, but I'm not going to say fuck you and your brand. But if you pull some bullshit where you say, well, you're not buying our phones anymore anyway, so it's not like we have to care if they hate us, so let's just fuck them and milk them for all they're worth. It's now my job to spite you and never buy anything from your company ever again. Using a Sony phone in 2025 meant that you were truly a diehard loyalist of the brand, and you just decided to bend them all over and fuck them to get $5 a month from a dwindling class of users. Fuck you. Fuck your shitty headphones that break if you look at them the wrong way, and fuck how you treat your users here. I was going to buy an NX800 camera for over $4,000. Now you're getting zero. I hope many other people follow and make similar decisions. You can find the full article on this at consumerrights.wiki, where we archive every single instance of a company taking part in these anti-ownership practices where they try to change the terms of the sale after the sale and turn things that used to be normal features into subscriptions to try and milk you for more money. Does this affect your opinion of Sony? Does this affect your loyalty to purchase another Sony product? Because I know when I was looking at buying cameras, I didn't care that other offerings from other companies seemed considerably cheaper than Sony's and had the same features and functionality. I just remembered this back from a few years ago when I needed to buy parts for my old Sony. I could buy parts on this 1995-ish looking bullshit website, which I love. It loads so fast because it's literally just static HTML from the 90s. I loved it. This reinforced that I should give Sony money for a camera if I need a camera, even if it costs more money. Now, I'd rather pay extra money if it means I'm not buying from Sony. Fuck companies that do this to you. And if you want to keep track of this, do take a look at the Consumer Rights Wiki, where we keep track of all these anti-ownership practices. If you want me to cover them on the channel, if you want them to be considered for a Fulu bounty in the future, when we're talking about items that have been discontinued or forced into a subscription by the manufacturer in some type of way, write a article for the wiki. That's how we get these on the radar, and that's how we hopefully get more people informed. I would like for this to be a useful resource for people who don't watch my channel, who don't want to listen to me rant in the manner that I do, who just want a neutral tone of voice database of companies that have taken part in these anti-ownership practices. Help me build it. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.
We also have the duty not to infringe the IP rights in the process. It is in fact the manufacturers who have the relevant rights, not consumers.